It's really an honor to be able to be here in front of you all this evening and say a few words about Zack Morgan. Dr. Morgan's worked really hard to get to this milestone and should be proud. I remember interviewing Zack for residency, and I came away thinking about how he just seemed confident but humble, and he conveyed a sense of quiet capability and really just seemed like a nice guy. Seemed like somebody that you'd like to work with, someone that would be a good teammate, and that's held up pretty well over the last few years. Luckily, during those interviews, no one told him that I would be his mentor, and so he's here with us tonight. In the past few years, Zack has gone from being a strong intern, and I was really surprised early on how well he was doing, and again, we had that expectation, but meeting with you in those mentor meetings and going over your evaluations and talking with you again, it really seemed like you had things figured out pretty quickly, and I went on to become a strong, solid resident team leader, someone who was always organized and could really keep the flow of patient care moving and manage complexity, again with a sort of calm confidence. And then of course went on to be a chief resident. And this, I would say, he always, to me, seems that he's enjoyed his work and is enjoying his work whenever I talk with him. Takes on challenges with that reassuring smile that I feel is almost like a trademark in my mind for Zack. I had the pleasure to work with Zack on at least one rotation. Okay, all right. So I'm sorry, I couldn't remember if it was one or two, but for sure, again, the feeling is, you know, my memory is how easy our time together was on when we were working together, and that was just, again, because everything was taken care of, communication was always great, and just really all the hallmarks of a great physician. And on top of that, Zack tolerated my commentaries on rounds with exemplary stoicism, and that's really much to your credit. So. As far as our mentor meetings went, we would meet most months, and then Zack would explain to me that he was studying, he was meeting his goals. I would, for my part, congratulate him on those things, and then give him unsolicited advice, and then we would talk about running. Zack is a runner, and I think that ability to just not wear out easily, and to I think when you long distance run, you've got to have a sort of sense of endurance, and I feel like that's part of what has created the character that Zack has, or maybe it's that character that kind of makes running a good hobby for you. I've worried in this last year a little bit about someone who's taking on so much, and I worried that maybe you would get overworked with your chief duties, in addition to your usual resident work and family life. But Zack continued to do well, help make and manage schedules, keep the interview season a successful one, and then make sure that the residents had a solid rotation of quality restaurants to eat at during interview season. And maybe that rotation of dining helped tide people over as interview season came to an end in February and pandemic season started, which I think starts in May, and then it never ends. No, it is. But and you know, speaking of the epidemic, which is, you know, not something we should dwell on, but it really it kind of broke my heart a little bit because we really did talk about Zack's running hobby a lot. And I don't know if anybody, or if everyone in here knows or not. Somebody in here knows, Zack knows. But he was actually going to run the Boston Marathon on April 20th. and unfortunately that got canceled. So I was really disappointed. I mean, genuinely, I was super excited about this idea, and so I hope that in a year or two you'll be able to get back in there and do a really good job there, and I want to know about that when that happens. So. And then, so Zach's also going to join our hospitalist group after a short, much-deserved break. And Zach, I really hope you enjoy and make the most out of those 4 days. So, along the way, Zack has given me a couple of gifts. First, it was through Zack that I learned the secret signal that's given amongst the ACU Wildcats. And that was an O. This is a C. Okay. And so now I can use this with my boss. I just sort of sprinkle it in kind of subtly whenever I'm talking to him, and it seems to have kind of a positive effect. So thank you for that, Zack. And then the other thing I learned is that when you need to know that you're good enough, that you have what it takes, and sometimes you just have to be secure in who you are. And if being the best means beating all the women in a Komen race for the Cure Marathon, then that's what you do. And when you cross that finish line first, ahead of all those women, you take that feather boa. You take that tiara, and you leap like you've never left before. And then you show me that picture, and it burns this really wonderful image in my mind where I can go to that when I'm having a bad day and smile a little bit. So thank you for that, because that's what it means to be a winner. So anyway, congratulations, Zack. You really have worked very hard, and you've done well. I hope that the reward for your work is a future that provides joy and fulfillment to you in the form of taking care of others and helping others do their jobs and taking care of other people. And if you can find that, then you've got a very rich future ahead of you. So, congratulations.